other feed up and going. Oh, goodness sakes. Can we get this set up without problems? I don't know. So far, so good. Don't touch it. So welcome, everybody, as we come at you live from sunny St. George. It is great to be back with you on Monday Night Live.
You know what we forgot to do?
Tell me.
To figure out when our Monday Night Live anniversary is.
Oh, you're right. We did forget that.
We were going to do that.
Well, we'll figure it out, and we'll post-celebrate if it was before now, and we'll pre-celebrate if, well, we'll celebrate on time.
Yes.
So we're excited to get with you tonight and talk. We have been super excited because we're in the middle of Kate's challenge that she has taken on, which has been super cool. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, our transformation that we've got started. So it'll be a week tomorrow.
Yes.
So technically it'll be a week on Wednesday, but I went and got all my measurements and everything a week ago tomorrow.
Right.
So I'll be jumping in live and doing like a 1 week check-in to see how the first week went, and it's been really great. I did the hyperbaric for the very first time on Wednesday. What I've not been great about is logging and chatting with you guys. But so we just kind of figured out kind of the best way to do it so we don't bombard all the news feeds, right?
Right.
So if you want to get a more intimate experience with the transformation, come follow me on my personal social medias. And then as some of the bigger pieces get unearthed, because let's be honest, that's going to happen as we work through all this stuff, then those pieces will be sharing to the Turning Leaf pages in your respective social media atmosphere that you like to participate in. So, but yeah, I did the hyperbaric chamber for the first time. It felt awesome. Apparently I started at an 8, which is maybe just too higher than what Dean does.
There's a little higher oxygen level. I was like, when she told me she was going at an 8, I'm like, I'm at a 6, but that, hey, if it works.
Sid put me in and she hooked me up.
Yeah,
so.
Some people can do 7, 8. Me, I have to go a little to 6, but it was great.
Yeah, and I'm excited as I continue to do that one because I think that one's kind of more of a repetitive, you know what I mean, longevity type of a thing. So I'm really, really excited. It's supposed to be really good for my skin, so I love that idea.
It's great for your complexion. It pushes the oxygen to the higher levels of the brain. It helps restore. It's such a good thing, especially as you're working through what you're doing.
Right.
So we're excited. So this is where she's working on the weight loss program and integrating the coaching, integrating the meal prep through Twisted Kitchen.
Yep, Twisted Noodle, Twisted Kitchen.
Yeah.
It's cool. And let me tell you how amazing that's been, first of all, if I can just steal you guys for 1 minute. Holy cow, to not have to prep food.
And it's good.
And it's delicious.
It's really good.
It really is. My 2 favorites so far was I had a beef enchilada that was to die for, the green chili sauce. I was like, I think I need 6 of these every week. And then I also really love the Southwest Salmon Bowl. It was like, when I saw it, I was like, okay, game on. But it was so good. So much good flavor in there. So
awesome.
Cam and the crew at Twisted Noodle, you guys do an amazing job.
They do.
And I'm grateful.
So, as we jump into tonight's topic.
One more thing, Dean.
Oh, do it.
So I was just going to tell you, I did the hyperbaric on Wednesday, and then I sat in the chair with Dean and did a life coaching session, and those 2 back to back, like to be able to just kind of like, I did some meditation in the hyperbaric chamber. We've talked about how we were coupling those 2 things together.
Right. And
then to come straight in from all of that peaceful place, feeling just really, I felt tingly. Remember, I was like, I just kind of feel tingly. Like it was just, I felt more open to be able to really kind of start digging into some other things in coaching. And this guy doesn't let me off the hook sometimes. So it was really good. I felt like we had a really great session.
Yep.
We've got a lot of cool stuff that we've got coming up and that we're absolutely going to work through because nothing happens in a vacuum.
That's right.
So
that's right.
And that's what I love about this process too, even though it's only been a week, is we're attacking all of the different wellness pieces, not just only going after exercise or only going after meal prep or only going after my emotional growth. Like it's everything all together, which is very cool. I think it's something different that we have to offer.
And it's so important. You know, we're always working on the exercise piece. We're always working on the food piece. But add the emotional work to it, the pieces that cause us to eat, the pieces that cause us to self-soothe with food, or use that external system to implement new coping skills, to implement and remove those pieces that are getting in the way and cause us to keep going back to that comfort zone behavior, is where more success is found than in just trying to do one here, one there. Grouping it together is the ultimate solution. Really,
and it's that, like we talked about in my coaching session, it's that finding that lifestyle balance, right? So just yo-yoing 5 years of being thin, 5 years of being unfit, and back and forth, instead of just finding that perfect balance of lifestyle.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. So once again, I'll post this all in the message about where you can find me and be following my journey a little bit more intimately if you'd like to, but you'll find it here as well.
Cool. Very cool. Now.
Okay, let's talk about our topic.
Now we get into our topic, which I'm glad we were covering all that because it has a lot to do with this too. It has a lot to do with our topic. And so tonight I wanted to spend some time and really talk about our comfort zones. And we do spend a lot of time self-medicating. We do spend a lot of time finding ways to deal with stress and anxiety and disappointment and sadness and anger, all the emotions that we really try to avoid. But also, sometimes we struggle with happiness, we struggle with joy, we struggle with feeling those things on different levels. So we find ways to cope. You know, it's like with speaking of, with food, it's like, oh, I got a new job, let's celebrate, let's eat. Oh, I lost my job, I'm bummed, let's eat. And so it's
or drink, right?
or drink, or whatever you may do. And so the challenge for us is to really learn how to cope, and that's what we've been spending our prior lives on. So tonight we thought we would talk a lot about understanding the different levels of healthy risk that we can take, because it's really simple for us to get into the unhealthy risk side of things. We're real good at taking unhealthy risks. It's really good at taking unhealthy risks in a lot of different ways, and it's hard for us to find a way to take healthy risks. But we need to understand the difference between, or the 4 different levels of healthy risk. So we thought we'd talk about it tonight,
which is super rad.
Yes.
In fact, I'm not gonna sugarcoat this. Dean just barely presented it to me, and I was like, I love it. This is amazing.
Well, it was something that was important, and I thought, well, let's talk about this tonight. I pitched it, and Kate loved it. So here we are. So Jackie just said we're sideways. I'm assuming we're sideways probably on the other feed. Whatever feed we're sideways on, we apologize. But I'm afraid to touch anything, quite honestly.
You just may have to do this.
It just turns sideways for a minute. Be patient with us. However, there are 4. So we have 4 levels of risk. First is the obvious one, which is no risk, which is we don't take any risk or put ourselves out there in any form or fashion. And then we have low risk, which is where we put ourselves out there a little bit, but as we're putting ourselves out there, we're not looking at a lot of exposure, we're not looking at a lot of discomfort. Then we have a medium risk, and medium risk, there's a little bit more discomfort. We're starting to feel more uncomfortable. We're not comfortable with being uncomfortable, and so we kind of stick to the medium risk behaviors. And then we have the high risk, and I'm not talking high risk in like we normally think of. We hear the term high risk, we think, oh, high risk, unhealthy, bad, don't do.
It's not risky. It's not like risky behavior, right? It's
We're talking about high risk, healthy. High risk. So doing what you love, following your dreams, speaking out,
getting into a relationship,
walking into the gym when you're afraid of what people are going to think. So this fits more the high risk. The medium risk is more of the things that are still a little insulated, like posting things on social media or volunteering and participating in group activities, but not really putting yourself out there. And that's not a bad thing. They're not negative things.
Right.
Low risk is one of those where we're kind of participating, we're kind of holding back, we're not putting ourselves out there, there's not a lot of discomfort. And no risk is when we really get into that nesting we kind of retreat or retract into our homes. We get everything online. We don't go out into public. I go to work. I work all day. I come home. I camp out. I don't leave my house except to walk the trash out to the dumpster and the dumpster to the curb. And that's a very no risk type of behavior.
Right. Which, once again, there's time and seasons for that kind of stuff, right? Like if you need to just like have a weekend where you're no risk and you're chilling at home,
just recouping,
that's absolutely not unhealthy. But if that is a day after day after day after lifestyle,
then it's an issue. Absolutely. So one of the things that's important for us to recognize is at what level and at what stage is this risk for us. But one of the things we have to remember is with healthy risk comes healthy reward. And with unhealthy risk comes unhealthy reward. And we have consequences on both sides of the fence.
Isn't it interesting how, and maybe this is just me and my personal belief system and my upbringing, but isn't it interesting how the word consequence has an automatic negative like feel to it?
Right.
When it's just the outcome, right?
Yeah, it is an outcome.
Yeah, and so there could be a really healthy positive consequence.
Oh, absolutely.
But we're so conditioned a little bit to think of consequences as only being negative.
Yeah, it's what I give or what I get when I'm in trouble.
Right.
But
you just earned a consequence. Love
sometimes
that
consequence is a healthy thing. It's like a healthy consequence of exercising is stamina, energy, longevity. That's a healthy consequence. But you're right, we do put a negative spin.
Right. So let's get rid of that notion.
Absolutely.
And I love how you said, you know, there's the healthy high, medium, no, low, medium, and high risks, and then you're also going to get the
same
equivalent reward, right?
Right.
The equivalent consequence.
Right. And where we are, and as you put it so well, is a lot of it just depends on where we're at and what's going on in our lives at the time. Our goal is ultimately to be out of our comfort zone because that's where the most growth comes for us. But if there are times I do need to heal or to retreat and I need to hit the no risk moment for a period of time, that's one that we don't want to spend a lot of time in. That's one that we want to spend very little amount of time in the no risk zone or no risk area. But if we can get into the medium and the high risk, and we're talking about not high risk in a negative way for those tuning in, we're talking about healthy high risk on a healthy level. Then that's where we're going to have the most growth in our lives. We're going to be the most benefit and reward coming from those higher healthy risks that we can take.
I'm also just sitting here thinking that even some of those no risk behaviors that's for some people are a total no risk, right? Like staying at home, chilling, just doing a lot of me time at home can be kind of a low to medium risk for those of us that have a hard time chilling out at home, right? Like if that's like part of like the learning piece, you know what I mean? Like
so if you're an individual that feels pressured all the time
to be productive
and to be everything to everybody, then isolating yourself within your house and kind of taking time for yourself, that definitely could be a medium or a high risk for you. Yes, I agree.
So even though like we're talking about some of these behaviors, all of us are going to have some very different, obviously, because we're all different people. We all have our different stuff, right?
Right.
So, but definitely, hopefully we are all at least under the same understanding now as what we are talking about as far as like between the no and the high, what that definition is.
Right. And if we get into those, to whatever so we have the no risk, the low risk, medium risk, and high. And we're talking healthy. When we can get into these different stages, when we can get into the low, medium, and high, that's where we're going to start to grow the most. So to really get into the high risk, healthy high risk behaviors, that's where we're doing things that are really beneficial to us. So like for you, what you're doing with this transformation piece, and it's very high risk for you because you're making it very public.
Right.
And you're putting yourself out there where a lot of people can see what you're doing. And that's the hard part, is that with that, on that level, you're going to get some pushback. You're going to get people that might be critical. Are you going to get some people? Maybe not, hopefully not. But if you do, you do.
Right.
And that's where when we get into that level, we have to really be focused on what it is we want more than what we don't want.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're afraid of the world, if we're afraid of the reaction of the world, we're never going to get to this high healthy risk level. We're always going to cower back because somebody's going to criticize us, somebody's going to comment on us, somebody's going to hate on us, or we're afraid, well, what if I fail?
Right.
What if I don't make it? What if I don't get there? Then I'll be ashamed or embarrassed. We've got to push through and stay focused on what we want to really get the high reward for that. On the medium level, that's one that tends to be less risk. It becomes a less discomfort, but it is one that we can use as we're moving forward as well and start pushing into more of things that are healthy for us and doing things, getting out, exercising, pushing forward, asking for that raise, pushing to communicate with people, talking to people. So I don't have to run from zero to high in one day. Sometimes I may work my way up, and I may just take an accounting. So I wake up today and I go, okay, where do I want to go with this part of my life? Maybe I want to be more social. And right now I'm at zero. I'm at no risk. So today I'm going to go with a low risk, and then I'm going to push to a medium risk, and I'm going to see how that pushes me forward and where it takes me.
I love it. And I'm even just like working this whole analogy in my head about like when you learn how to ride a bike, right? Like, so moving through those different layers. So the no risk is don't ride a bike at all. It's scary. Low risk is like my roommate and her little son, he's got this little tricycle and she holds on to the back of it. You know what I mean? It's like a stroller almost. So that's like low risk, right? Medium would be on your own with your training wheels, and then high is you're riding your bike, right?
You're going. And
so I love using those different levels to prep you to take those big, giant, healthy risks in your life that are going to help you progress to what you want.
Right.
I think that's super cool.
And as we use those to move ourselves forward, it's really powerful because we don't get caught in the all or nothing concept. And that's why I wanted to really talk about this tonight is we are so caught in this all or nothing. We think we have to go from no risk to this high healthy risk that quick. And it puts a lot of pressure on people. And so as a consequence, it's like, nah, I'm just going to chill here and eat some Ben and Jerry's.
I'm good with Jon Snow on Netflix.
There you go. And so
that's Game of Thrones. If you don't know,
I did not.
He doesn't know. That's why I said.
Jon Snow. Is that like? I don't know who that is. I thought it was on. Never mind. Anyway, so we can get into those concepts of all or nothing. But if we start looking at it as, a level system of accountability for myself, that I can say, okay, today is going to be the low risk, but I'm moving forward from no. Then I'm going to go to medium tomorrow, and I can move myself up, and I can start. And this is the other piece that I wanted to add. Let me check our time. The other piece I want to add is when we take the healthy risk, then we step back and look at the results. That's what helps motivate me. So when I go from no risk to low risk, and I do the low risk thing, and I think, okay, that was uncomfortable, but I'm surviving and I'm doing good, and this feels okay. Then I can go, all right, I can push a little farther, and I can go into medium risk, and I can take the medium risk, and then I stand back and I look at the results. How's it going? That gets me into the high healthy risk level, where I'm taking these healthy risks on a high level that allow me to really move forward and gain results. And that's the part that we have to recognize.
And just once again, to couple those things together, the higher the risk, generally the higher the reward.
Right. Absolutely.
So if you want big wins in your life, you got to take big leaps.
Yeah,
you got to get out there and you got to risk big.
And
which is exciting, scary, and all those things.
But it's not the all or nothing.
Right.
Yeah, and we do want to. We start with that no to low to medium to high healthy risk, and we move ourselves into that phase and we look at it. The other piece and the last piece before we are out of time is don't be afraid to be uncomfortable. That's our biggest fear, is being uncomfortable and being wrong. And we're afraid of people telling us, you're wrong, you're bad. And so as a consequence of that, we don't do.
Right.
And so don't be afraid to be uncomfortable. Don't be afraid to have people comment on. And that's why I'm proud of what you're doing. And I'm impressed with what you're doing, because if somebody criticizes, you have to be okay with, okay, well, they criticize. And I know you and I have already had that. You know, we put ourselves out there in the world, and we've had our share of people making negative comments. I know it's happened to you. It's happened to me. People have made negative comments and said negative things. But the thing that's been intriguing to me is that the more that people do it, the more comfortable I am with it.
Right. It's just like, oh, there's another one.
It doesn't bother me anymore. But when we avoid it, it bothers us so much that we just don't do anything.
I think also too, kind of keeping in that perspective. Oh, look at all the hearts. Thanks, guys. That was really sweet. Keeping that into perspective as to, like you've already said, that bigger picture, that why, right?
Right.
Having a couple of hecklers is not going to hold you back from continuing to push forward and to grow and to become what it is that you want to become.
That's right. Absolutely. So our challenge to you with this video is to really start to use that level of accountability. No, low, medium, and high healthy risks. And really start to hold yourself accountable as you move forward, and you push that envelope and you push a little deeper into the unknown and start to really feel more comfortable being you. If you are uncomfortable, then you're doing it. If you're uncomfortable, you're doing it. And sometimes we have to build that tolerance. Like I said, for us, people heckle, people say things, you get used to it, it doesn't bother you anymore. We have to push into all aspects of our lives like that so that we can be comfortable being ourselves. So that's my challenge.
I love it. And as always, if you're wanting some little assistance and some extra cheerleading and people in your corner, come hang out with us at Turning Leaf.
Yes.
It's what we love to do.
100%. Yep. And if you want to join Kate in her challenge in the transformation, the 3-month transformation, let us know. Give us a call. People are jumping on board, so feel free to do so.
Super exciting.
Well, take care, everybody. It's good to see you on Monday Night Live. We look forward to seeing you next Monday night, July 1st.
Holy cow!
It's gone so fast.
Enjoy your last week of June.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
I'll go high.
I'll go low.
All right.